Let me just double check everything. I was speaking to Ed a second ago. All is well. We've done a tech check-in. Everything is fine. He was just in the staging area now. I'm just double checking him now to get him to come back in again. Do not worry, all is well. Reply. Natasha Stanley wins the prize for the first comment. There we go. Click the link again, buddy. There we go. Have we got sound? Good evening. Oh, there we go. Adam, you were pipped to the post again by Natasha. So, yes, Ed was here a second ago. So we're going to hang on for a second for him to click back in again. But yeah, literally just as we went live, his screen froze. So he's just refreshed it on his end. I'm just double checking he's here. How are we all? Have we had a good day today? Still peed off about the top fan badge. Natasha, if you keep liking, commenting, sharing, and doing whatever it is you do, then you will get a top fan badge. Ed. Fernandez. Grant is technically my biggest fan too. Yes, Adam, I am your biggest fan too. All as well. So, guys, Ed is a fantastic stage hypnotist who does the cruise ships, does the corporate stuff, does everything. He's been performing for more years than well, certainly more years than I've been alive, but near enough. I think he's got over 30 years as a stage hypnotist. I'm just, come on. He's definitely here. I saw him a second ago. I don't know if Ed knows that he's frozen. Yes, he's seen it. He's seen it. He's on his way. I wonder what I have to do for him to be my biggest fan. More of the chocolate Scotch eggs. I say more of them. I don't think I could eat another one, to be fair. They were something else. Adam, does he work at Heathrow Airport? No, he doesn't. Grant is technically my biggest fan. So there we go. So whilst we wait for Ed to click that link, we'll talk about shows. It's been really good. I've seen some shows starting to come back in again. And so that's really nice. So it's nice to see the world is opening up to more shows. It'll be interesting to see how we go in the UK after our next announcement. And then we should start seeing things. We still don't know on the cruise ships where they're going, but I mean, Ed will talk to us about cruise ships in a few moments when he clicks in. There we go. This is like to be kept on your toes. Anything could happen. So yes, since last week we did a technical check-in in the middle of the week just to make sure it all worked as well. And we've just been chatting to each other for the last 10 minutes in the staging area. Wish lights would open to get us home. Oh, wish flights would open to get us home. Yes. Yes, I believe yes. Skegness is waiting for you. Brian Glenn, hi there, mi amigo. Good afternoon. Oh, hello. Zach Harvey is here as well. There we go. Brilliant. Well, Ed is here somewhere. Let me just send him the link again. Copy. Paste. So Ed has been, like I say, a stage hypnotist for over 30 years. A great performer, good clean show as well. And we've got a great clip of his performance where there's a lot of people. Hello, John McCabe. Good evening from the truck. Good evening, Eddie Duncan. So yeah, a great clip from Ed's show as well. Please don't knock on the table. John McCabe came in to interview me last week on a podcast. And there's a great moment on TikTok where I knock on the table and John forgets how to speak. So I can see Ed is commenting now. He'll be here in a second. So working on it. Brilliant. I think he might just have to put another 50p in his meter for the electricity. Sometimes they're having some issues there. So he is here. He knows how to do it. Everything is fine. He's put in the password. All is well. So yeah, so John McCabe, that was hilarious, John. Yes, that was one of the videos that got put up on TikTok. And TikTok is a great resource for us performers to kind of put out there 1 minute clips of us doing what we do. I can see he's ready to join the broadcast. So guys, without anything to do, there we go. He is back. Phew. You actually keep me on my toes with this one. So guys, please have your questions ready. Make some noise for the most anticipated guest we have ever had on the show so far, the one and only Ed Fernandez. Ed, how are you?
Hey, I'm pretty good illusionist. I can disappear, appear anytime you want. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It is absolutely fantastic to have you on. I did think for a moment then, it was literally like just as we went to go live, your screen went like that and disappeared.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, no. So right. Yeah, I'm pleased you made it, because otherwise these guys just think I'm making it up that you're going to be on the show.
Right.
So I introduced and said you had over 30 years as a stage performer. You tell us what was your first time on stage and how long ago was that?
Well, I started with my father at a very young age. My father was a professional magician, a hypnotist, and he used to have a large show. And I used to do, like when I was like 5 or 6 years old, my dad set up like a chemical reaction thing. I would walk on, I would wave a magic wand, and the thing would change colors. But that's where I got my start with magic. He did hypnosis, but I really wasn't interested in that till later. I was too interested in doing the magic. And so it was like in my early teens that I actually started to gain some interest with the hypnosis. My very first show I did, I was like about 13, 14 years of age. So that's what got me going. That's what got me started. But I did start in the entertainment industry as an illusionist. I mentioned, I believe the other day, I started working on the cruise ships in 1983, November 1983 or October 83, sorry. So I started on SS Norway, but I was actually originally booked as an illusionist. I did an illusion show with chandeliers that I did in the casino market. So that's what actually got me going with it. But where I was originally hired, as I said, as an illusionist, and there was a case with a piano player that didn't show up one time. He missed the plane. He didn't make it to the ship. I'm talking to the cruise director, and he's saying to me, we got an act short. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. And I said, you're missing an act? I said, well, I have this other show. It's a hypnotist show. And he goes, well, what's that? I said, well, I'm going to ask for volunteers, and I'm going to, through a series of scenarios, take them through some humorous things. And he goes, well, are you going to make them quit smoking? I go, no, this is an entertainment show. And he couldn't grasp that. So anyway, we do it. It went very well. And every time I went back to work with Norwegian Cruise Lines, which the SS Norway was, I had to do both shows. I do the illusion show, then I did the hip show as well. So that's really how I got started in that industry. However, I was already doing stage hypnosis years earlier than that.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that about the kind of not knowing what hypnosis show was, and they thought you were going to make people quit smoking. Right. I think now we have a generation of people that have never seen a live stage hypnosis show. So I have people at my shows that kind of that don't understand the concept. They do believe in, or they know about hypnosis for weight loss. They know about hypnosis for anxiety and quitting smoking, but they don't know about this kind of how crazy it is that we can do fun stuff with it as well.
Right.
So who was the first hypnotist that you saw? What was your inspiration to get on stage?
Wow, you know what? When I was 21 years old, I worked with a guy named Alan Spraggett, who was he was a writer, and he had a TV show called The Unexplained, and he was the first one that I actually, other than my dad, that I actually seen, and he just would do things in groups and parties, and he had a vocalist that was going to appear at the Royal York Hotel in Toronto, and the vocalist, he couldn't remember the order of his songs, and he didn't want to write an idiot sheet on the floor or on the table. As one of the first things I see, he hypnotized them, and he told them, you know, you're going to open up with this song. Your second one is going to be this one. Then you're going to do this one. You're going to do this one, and then when he opens his eyes, what's your third song? Come up with right away. What's the fifth song? What's the first one? What's the eighth? You know, and I'm going, wow, and it just blew me away. It was just, and I already knew that everything that, but to do this and not a show scenario and just helping them was, you know, it was very impressive watching that.
Yeah, it's still something when you see hypnotic phenomena, and sometimes it's just still now it gives me goosebumps to see, not just on the stage stuff, but when someone does something and you see the look in their eyes when they realize profoundly. Right. John McKay, one of the guys in the comment section, we did a podcast with one of the guests a couple of weeks ago, and there's a moment where the presenter, being John, was hypnotized that when the table was knocked, he would forget how to talk. And it's a great piece because you can see his reaction is just, it's automatic, and it's so nice to see that. So
right.
So yeah, what was your last show that you did before COVID? I mean, we kind of talked with a few guests about, like, they didn't realize it was the last time they were on stage. Well,
as you know, COVID, it's a year ago, like, or now in April, but a year ago in March, I was not on the ships, and I was working some land things. I was doing some resorts, and I remember that one week, and the Sunday before, you know, all hell broke loose here. I was at a resort in Northern Ontario, and that was the last show. That was the actual live show that I did. After that, you know, got to pick up the pieces and try to be creative and do what. So I did like most guys did, going into doing Zoom things. I was doing therapy with Zoom as well, you know, for the different things, hypnotherapy, and then just. And every time we're working on a project and you see light at the end of the tunnel, you say, wow, okay, something's going to happen now. Okay, so we can get ready to go. And you get ready to go, and all of a sudden, COVID, boom, hits you on the head with a hammer again. So it brings you back to square one. So what I ended up doing, like last year over the summer, I went back to something I did many years ago. I started going back into the film industry and doing things. One of the first things I did, I was a magic advisor for a movie called Abracadabra, not Cadabra, Abracadabra. It's a Hallmark movie, and I was the advisor. I created some magic things for the star of the movie and taught him how to work this. It was a really cool movie. It's still seen on all the Hallmark stations over and over again.
Nice. Do you think your history in magic has helped you improve as a performer? Oh. John McCabe says, I know that film, great film. There we go. It looks like he's frozen again. So no worries. Hopefully he will come back in. Let me just message him to let him know. But what we'll do is, let's have a look. Wow, such an experience, a true legend. Yes. So what we'll do is, I'm going to let him know to come back in. Click link again. Smiley face. No pressure. And whilst he's doing that, I'm just going to show you this really great clip from his show. There is some music in this, so we're going to be careful of copyright strikes, because the last time we did is get kicked off at that. I think what's happening is Canadian internet. It needs to put another 50p in and wind that internet back up again. So whilst he's kicking that and rebooting that, I'm going to show you this clip from the show. What I like about this is within the hypnosis community on stage and on YouTube, you see a lot of arm pull inductions. In this clip that we're about to show, It's a really gentle version of that. No one's arms being pulled out of the socket. It's very gentle, very nice. The age group of the people involved in this show as well are a little bit older. And with those people, obviously, you have got to be a little bit more gentle as well. But these people traditionally are harder to hypnotize. And so you've got to be really careful and really polished how you do that. Roy Grant, Ed and I live in the same community, and the internet access here is not always the best. Thank you very much, Roy. If you could go around and switch it off and switch it back on again for him, that'd be brilliant. But whilst he's doing that, I'm going to show you this clip.
Sleep. Carrie. Sleep. Son. Wait, nice to meet you, man. It's time to sleep. And. Sleep. Melanie, nice to meet you, Melanie. Sleep. Elvin. Elvin, Henry. Sleep. Sleep. Hey, Drew, sleep. Everybody just put me right in there. Thanks, Will. Just move over to your right. And sleep. Sleep. Master. Oh, I think we got all the milk we need from Betsy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Morning. Sir, can you be so kind? Can you have a seat over here, sir? Thank you. I brought you guys here today. You guys are the best employees we have in the entire company. But ladies and gentlemen, I have good news and bad news. Things are pretty tough for the company. I have to cut everybody's pay in half. Now, the good news is a very temporary situation for the next 15 or 20 years. And you're going to go back to your normal salaries of $3.75 an hour.
Yeah, $3.75 an hour.
I just want to let you know I appreciate you guys. I'm going to make a note on the contract. I just want you to know that after that time, you're going to go back to your normal salaries of $2.75 an hour. Okay, I'll make another over here. You guys are really great. Jay, can you do me a favor? Can you put that,
And he's back. Perfect timing there. Just as the
you know what? We have a rocket hub. We're not on a what our location. It's a rocket hub that works just on Wi-Fi, and so anyway, I'm back.
Roy Grant says he lives in the same community as you, and the internet access here is not always the best. So yes, brilliant.
Hey, Roy, how are you?
Yeah, John McCabe as well says great induction that. So yeah, whilst you were gone, I was showing them the clip. Was that on a ship? That clip?
That was on the Caribbean Princess.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
The Caribbean Princess, yeah.
So on the ships over the years, I bet you've seen some amazing destinations. Where would you say is your least and most favorite place?
Oh boy, that's a well, and I mean, I love Europe and I like South America too. But some of the islands when you go over year after year, some of the islands, we ports, we don't even bother to get off. We have nothing really to do. But the only place in the world that I missed that I haven't been to yet is Australia.
Mm.
It's the only place that I've missed. But you know what? We can all have a ton of stories of what's happened to us on cruise ships. I was on the Star Princess on March 2006 on the fire that they had there. It was a huge fire.
Oh, wow.
It was interesting because they had the fire broke out, and then the crew did an incredible job. So the next day, the cruise was canceled. They disembarked about a third of the ship. So there was a production show on that night, and the cruise director says, "Well, I don't want to. I'm going to cancel the production show. I'm going to put you on so they can have a laugh." And
Yeah.
I go, "Well, it's great, but you're taking off the production show." So I'm going in front of these people. So I'm the guinea pig and see what happens. But you know what? The people were happy that there was a show.
Yeah.
They were thrilled. They were hungry because they hadn't eaten. It was interesting. But you know what? I learned so much just being there. But I couldn't be one of those people that would sit down and just wait for somebody to tell me what to do. I just went up to the front, and I started handing water out to people, and
Nice.
And then at one time I was going to charge people, but then they told me not to. No. But you know what? Going on there, you never know.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine a cruise ship full of passengers that have not eaten. That could be an angry bunch. Yeah. So John McCabe says, the induction where you lean everyone over to the side. I love that. I must admit, it's so graceful where you kind of put the hand up, get them to go over, and then just drop them down. Love it.
Right.
Great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I think most of us European hypnotists have just stolen that from you.
Okay, send me royalties.
That's what exactly. We'll send you some dollars over.
Good idea.
Yeah. So we always ask people about their most challenging shows or the worst things that's happened to them during their stage hypnosis career as such, because I think that's where we learn the most, really, from those challenging situations. What's yours?
Challenging in the sense, as you know, in a cruise ship scenario, the exotic cruises, people are generally to be much older than if you have a family audience. Panama Canal is an example. I always say the people are they're near dead, and so that some of the things. So you're really handicapped because it's a challenge because you don't know how many people are going to go up on that stage.
Yeah.
You can have 20 chairs, and these people they're 85 years old. They were in the Panama Canal all day. The last thing they want to do is go and trot up on the stage. Hey, I want to be okay. Maybe you may get somebody, but most people, I'm not doing that. Yeah, and so you can actually be, it could be very, very challenging with that. Yeah. One of the most bizarre things, and I've got to tell you about a bizarre thing. I was doing a midnight show, another princess ship, and it was in the back lounge. It's only about 300 people. I'm doing my opening comments, and when I invite people to come up, I hear this guy running down the aisle, and I hear woo! And this guy's got his hands up in the air like this, woo! But he's got his fingers like this.
Oh,
he's going like this, woo! Goes down the aisle, goes around, goes back up, and leaves. So I say, if there's any young people here, there's a good reason that you shouldn't drink.
Yeah.
Mid-age guy, mid-50s, runs back to the stage. I'm at the edge of the stage, and he comes right up to me, and he goes, "You want a piece of me? "You want a piece of me? Get off that stage right now! Get off there!"
Wow.
And then I look over to my helper, and I have 2 helpers every show, by the way. And I went and I said, "You know what? I think it's time security it gets called here." And when he heard that, he went out the door. Now security was close by. They intercepted him in the front. They took him away. Anyway, this guy had an argument with his wife. He was a drug, an alcohol counselor. And he had an argument with his wife. He got drunk and he went over there and he made this big fiasco. So those are some of the things that, as you know, we deal with, and that some things could be actually worse.
Yeah. You're dealing with people, and people are so unpredictable at times. It's craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got told years ago, it's not something I've used in years, but to have a secret signal so that the sound and the security people know that if you ask for the ambulance skit or the ambulance music or whatever it is, they know that security.
They know. Yeah. There's an emergency going on. Excellent idea.
Yeah. So great tip. But again, it's not something I've used in years because it's one of those as your venues get better, you don't think you're going to need it.
Right. You just don't know. But all of a sudden, it's just one individual out of 2,500 people that were there. So. Yeah. What's your favorite show you've ever done so far? Whether it be because of the audience, because of the venue, the booker, one that really kind of warms your heart when you think about it. As far as overall, each one is a different challenge, and I know that when there's people up on stage that are really good subjects and that they're really excellent and they're really, really good. That, of course, that always makes us feel good if you got excellent subjects versus you may have say 10 people up on stage and maybe 8 of the 10 are saying, "You know what? I dare you to hypnotize me. Yeah. I don't think you can do this to me." So you got 8 people that are saying, "I dare you." Then you got your work cut out a little bit. Because they're challenging you before they even get up there. And then there's going to be somebody who says, "I really want to be, or I have been hypnotized before." And so each one of those can be just could be hazardous to a show.
John McCabe says, and it's a great line actually, going back to the safety line, he said, "Can someone bring me some new batteries for the mic, please?" Again, it's a great way of letting them know that, attention is needed on the stage. So,
right. Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. We've all learned something tonight. So what you said, you've been doing some Zoom therapy stuff as well. How have you found that?
Well, I started doing it with people that I knew. Of course, that's how we move on to that. And then I started doing Zoom presentations with shows for corporate things. But that's been it kind of roller coasters, it kind of goes and doesn't. I firmly believe that once the COVID scenario vanishes, and hopefully it does, that people will go back into going back to the way things were. And a lot of people think that the Zoom is going to replace live entertainment, and I just cannot see that at all. I can't see that at all.
There's a magic between an audience and the act on stage. There's a magic there, and I don't think Zoom can do that. I think therapy and Zoom work well because it's anonymous and people can speak that at home in their own privacy. They don't have to go to a treatment room. So I think that has a lot to do with that. Eddie Duncan says, "I'd usually say if there's a doctor in, because this guy is struggling to breathe, my foot is on his windpipe." Oh, no worries. There we go. And I believe we've lost him again. But don't worry, he will be back. It's just that Canadian internet.
Thank you and God bless, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you and good night. Ladies and gentlemen,
There we go, true master at work there. As you can see from that audience as well, so it looks like it was a great cruise ship. Ed says, can you see me? I'm back. Ed, no, I can't. You should be back there somewhere. So he's here. He's going to try and make his way in. Let me just refresh my screen. That might help him appear again. So bear with me for 1 second. Reload. There you go. I'm back. I don't know if Ed's back yet. It's not yet, but I'm going to stall. Let me just... I can't see you. So yeah, John So has Natasha. Have you seen her doing flash dance? Oh, I think that's be quite famous of Natasha's flash dance routine. There we go. No, John McCabe didn't get to see that. So try again. There we go. So yes, this is the joys of live. As we can see, we have Ed Fernandez, who is joining us all the way from Canada, a wonderful part of the world that doesn't have the best internet, and he's been giving us some of the stories from his time on the ships and his experiences, which has been absolutely fantastic. Hopefully we'll get him back on to give us our tips and tricks. If you have any questions as well for Ed, this is the time to get them in the comment section for when he gets back on again. And we're going to try and make sure the next time we get him back on again, we're going to wrap it up as quickly as we can before we lose him again. Guys, next week as well, we have Salish, who is a phenomenal hypnotist as well, massive on the fair market in America. John McCabe, who's the first person you ever hypnotized? It's an interesting question, that. At what point is somebody hypnotized, whether you're using it for entertainment or for other things? I think the first time I hypnotized someone for entertainment purposes was in a bar, in kind of like an impromptu situation, which was really interesting for me because I'd always kind of done it for the therapy side of stuff, and then to hypnotize someone into doing something silly was a great experience and a bit of an ego trip for me as well. And I don't think I've stopped from that. It was a moment where the girl behind a bartender behind the bar wanted me to hypnotize her. And I was tired and couldn't be bothered, to be fair. But then I knew her boyfriend, and he was a bit of a character. So when she says, "Oh, I'm such and such's boyfriend, I'm such and such's girlfriend, would you hypnotize me?" I was like, "Yes." And I'd be doing loads of silly stuff as well. And at that point, I realized how entertaining hypnosis can be as well. So yeah. But I don't do any of that stuff anymore now. But in impromptu hypnosis, for any hypnotherapists watching, it's good to know the skill sets of stage hypnosis and impromptu hypnosis for when someone comes up to you at a network meeting or a party or an event and says, "Oh, you're the hypnotist. Can you hypnotize me now?" Because then if you can do something there, and then if you can show them something profound, something amazing, it's a great way of promoting your business. And it's a great way of getting that attention as well, and kind of showing people, you know, something unusual and something cool as well. So let's have a look. It looks like he's struggling to connect again. All good fun. But yes, check out Ed's website. It is FernandezHypnotist.com. There's some videos of his shows up there as well, and some of his bio as well. And Ed is also available for corporate work, and for therapy stuff as well. So if you're in the market for that, he's a great guy and has tons and tons of experience. And that's what a lot of this industry is about. Yes, get good quality training, but put in those reps. You know, the more shows you perform, the more polished you become. The more you hypnotize people, the easier it is to hypnotize people. The more confident you become at performing, the better you are at putting people into trance. Your confidence level grows, your intent grows, your energy grows, and that really goes for doing there we go. John, out of all of your shows, what is your favorite skit to perform, and does that vary as the audiences vary? I could keep asking questions all night. A couple of questions. Yes. My favorite skit to perform has to be the getting someone to gamble something for money, because money is a great motivator for most people. and I have a fake case full of money that I put on stage and get people to answer a silly question for £1 million, which is always interesting because one day that's going to bite me in the arse and someone's going to do it, and I'm not going to pay the money. I'll put that out there now. That's not going to happen. But it's interesting to see that dynamic because they know what they're doing but can't help themselves. But my favorite skit is anything to do with laughter. When you get someone to laugh, you can see it's a genuine emotion. When you see someone faking laughter, it's so obvious. When someone laughs really from inside, it's a great skit, and it just spreads and fills the room. So that's great. And Brian says, what's the score there? Any shows booked? Yes, shows are starting to come in now, Brian, which is really good. And look who is in the building. I mentioned Brian Glenn's name, and then all of a sudden, as if by magic, we have Ed Fernandez.
You know what? You got my neighbor there, Roy Grant. Roy, yes. Tell us about your ordeal with the internet.
Yes. yeah. If you could just run a cable to Roy's internet.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. So what tips would you give yourself kind of if you had to start again, or to a young hypnotist or younger hypnotist watching this now, what kind of tips would you give them about either booking shows or performing shows?
Well, the one thing as we all know, that in recent years there have been so many schools that have opened up, for stage hypnosis, for hypnotherapy, that I kind of wonder how much we're really learning. I had somebody who took a course in Toronto, spent $4,000 in the course, had all these books, and they gave me the books, and I said, well, what do you mean do that? He said, well, I'm not going to do anything with it. I said, but you know what? You're good. You can and anyway, I got these books, and somebody wasted their money. You know what? Over the years, growing up with the magic, of course, we all know Orban McGill. Ever since I was a teenager, I was very impressed by his Encyclopedia of Hypnosis, Encyclopedia of Stage Hypnosis. Yeah. I believe that if anybody that gets those two books certainly has enough knowledge to really go out and do a reasonable presentation. Now the gags that they put in the Encyclopedia of Stage Hypnosis are outdated, but you can take that and just rearrange it a little bit and make it in and add it to your own style and what it is that you're doing. And
yeah, doesn't stop a lot of hypnotists from still using those gags though.
Well, you know what, I always joke with hip friends, and I'm trying to find out what hypnotist can claim that they invented the pregnant man gag.
Yeah.
Right. Or the person speaking another language, which incidentally, my father used to do that. I grew up seeing, but not in the way it is now. But so many guys said, "Oh well, that's my gag." Really?
Yeah, it is weird to see people claim ownership of stuff. It's weird when you see people do things word for word from somebody else, or you can watch someone and know who they've trained with because it's word for word that other person's show.
Right.
But then I think that's a place where a lot of people start from, where they're told, do exactly what I do when I do it and say what I say, and then you'll do a stage show.
Right.
And then
the only other tip. I'm sorry, I cut you out. The other tip, before I forget it, I wanted to mention, very, very important, and these are my personal opinion. I want to make sure that whatever show that I do, I always have stage spotters, because as you know, one people are more relaxed than others. Some would get so relaxed, I call them floppers. This is a person they'll slide right off their chair. Yeah. And if you're by yourself, you can't handle this. Now you're on a big theater stage. Example, on a big 1,500 seat auditorium, and I always put a line, white tape on the floor, and then I instruct people when we're doing something, do not cross that line. Never. So it's like several feet away from the end. And then I have my spotters making sure that nobody falls off their chair.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. One time we were on one cruise that we're in Alaska, and we're in a terrible, terrible storm. And then like 30 people show up in the showroom, and I'm talking to the cruise director. You still want to do a show? I said, you got to do a show. I said, there's 30 people here, and I don't want to let people get up off their chair to go up on stage. It's very dangerous. We still have to do a show. Okay, well, if you want to do a show besides my helpers, I want to make sure that anybody that really wants to volunteer, that we have crew staff that will take each person individually by each arm and assist them to go on that stage and go back off, because we are hitting 30-foot waves, 30 meter, not meter waves, but I mean, that's
yeah.
And so what I did with that, I besides the spotters, I said, you know what, there's a lot of weather here, let's put our seatbelts on.
Yeah.
There is no seatbelt. Put on your imaginary seatbelt. Your imaginary seatbelt is going to hold you in position.
Yeah, great.
And so that's something that I adjusted to that. But those things can be very, very, very hazardous. And then there's some people, as you know, that see a hypnotist as a vehicle to possibly make some money from, to benefit them. Is there something that I can do that's going to get, oh, I got a headache. Oh, you really? Yeah, so do I. I got a headache. I mean, brief example. On the ship, another princess ship. At the end of the show, I have a young lady comes over to the side, says, I'm going to talk to you. Says, my mother got hypnotized, and she's not coming out of it. Oh, really? Okay. Okay, where's she in the back? So I thought that she was in the audience. She said, no, she's in the room. I said, well, I don't understand it. She said, well, she was at the other show. Now she's claiming that she was hypnotized. I said, okay, where is she now? Oh, she's in the cabin. Now, we're not allowed to enter passenger cabins. They're not allowed to art. So I called the cruise director, and I got two of my helpers to go with me to the room as witnesses as to what is happening. We went in, and the lady was sitting there on the bed, and I said, how you doing? And she goes, oh, I'm doing, and she sat up, I'm doing okay. And all of a sudden she goes, and she falls back. And then so I'm going through the motions of going, okay, you're going to be, I'm going through the motions of that to get her out of it. Then she opens her eyes, and I said, how do you feel? Oh, I feel great now. And she goes again, ooh. And I said, hold it right there. I said to the husband, sir, I don't know what medication your wife is on.
Yeah.
I don't know if your wife has been drinking alcoholic beverages. Only oh, she hasn't. Okay, that's fine. But, I don't really know that. So I don't know what she's been drinking, what medications she is on. But what she just did now is totally uncharacteristic of what a hypnotized person really, really is. A hypnotized person is not going to go, I said, that is not hypnosis. That's completely against. And I said, well, you know what? Let her, whatever she's doing now, let her sleep this off. And, we'll talk tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. And we left it that way. And then I didn't hear anything. Then I see the family around the next day, and, oh, how you doing? Oh, okay. I'm doing okay now. But at that particular moment, was she trying to create attention for herself from her family?
Yeah.
Because I do not believe at all that she was in any kind of a hypnotic state.
No.
She didn't want to seem to take that further, so she was not after financial interest. But it seemed to me she wanted attention from her family. Yeah. Oh, look, I got hypnotized. Ooh. So.
Yeah. again, we're dealing with people that, I mean, we don't know their emotional states. We've got to do everything we can to kind of tick those boxes, and especially on the ships as well, where safety and everything is of utmost, importance.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. We don't want it. We don't want anything to ever happen, and then we just don't need any kind of negative publicity, and that's why putting the spotters there, it just gives you an extra insurance. Yeah. So whatever, guys, please do that.
Yeah. When you talked about the white line at the front of the stage in the UK, that's actually a legal requirement. That we have to have a white line at the front of any race stage.
Oh, good. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah. Oh, excellent.
Yeah, we have some weird laws in the UK regarding hypnosis, but to be fair, most of them are common sense, so it makes sense. Safety first, because hypnosis, because it is so weird and unusual. Anything strange happens, like that lady, it's easy for people to go, "Oh, the hypnotist made me do it." So we've got to be squeaky clean at all times. So, and especially on cruise ships where there's thousands of people that are watching a show, we want them to go away and have a great experience. I believe that screen is frozen again. I'll keep talking because hopefully it will come back rather than disappear. But who knows? If it does disappear, I think we might have to call this a night. But I have every faith that Ed's internet with Roy's assistance will come through. Guys, don't forget, each week we bring you an expert stage hypnosis performer, someone from around the world that really has, polished their show, that is classed as an expert. If there's anyone, has he gone? He's not gone. He's still there, but he's almost not. Let me just bring me on. There's an expert. We've lost him. There's an expert in their craft. So if you have an interest in stage hypnosis or hypnosis in general, then join us each week, Thursday nights at 8 p.m. UK time, where you can ask these people the questions. You can get opinions on skits or routines that you're thinking of putting together, and you can find out their story on what kind of helped them become the expert hypnotist that they are. So for me, that's it for tonight. We, unfortunately had a couple of internet issues. I think that might have been the issue the other week when we tried to get Ed on. We managed to get him on. Next week we have Salish, who is a phenomenal stage hypnotist as well. So I'm going to waffle on for a couple of more minutes just in case Ed manages to make it back. But if not, please, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. That way you are notified every week when we upload a new interview. Grant, glad I could help. Roy, you are my glamorous assistant this evening, and it's always important to have a glamorous assistant. So yes, guys, thank you very much for watching us this week. Please show Ed some love on his social media. Check out his website. And yes, for me, thank you very much and good night. And I shall see you next week.